Ciao a tutti, my name is Lucilla. As you can tell from my voice, I'm sick, so this intro is gonna be very weird. Today I am joined by
Ariel
and
Sabrina.
They're gonna be talking about their favorite films, which are
Moulin Rouge
and
Shutter Island.
Hi, I'm here to talk to you about my absolute favorite film, which is Moulin Rouge. Bear with me with my horrific accent. I speak French normally. Moulin Rouge is directed by Baz Luhrmann, which I absolutely adore. I just think that his way of playing with colors and cinematic is just... Moulin Rouge has a crazy amazing cast. It's a movie that was made in 2001. The main cast is Ewan McGregor, who's playing the poet. There's the gorgeous Nicole Kidman, who's playing the courtesan. Jim Broadbent, who's playing Harold Zidler. The Duke, played by Richard Roxburgh. I cannot go on without mentioning Jacek Koman. He's playing the narcoleptic Argentinian, and Caroline O'Connor, who's playing Nini. Moulin Rouge is actually based on La Dame aux Camélias from Alexandre Dumas. I feel really dumb not knowing this since I've been a really big fan for a long time, but I'm not the kind of fan who like overread about stuff. I didn't know, however, that Baz was inspired by the cinematic of Bollywood movies, and that's why it's so full of colors. I knew that. If I can resume the movie, right at the beginning you learn that the great love of Christian, which is Satine, died. It's tragic, it's terrible, and you learn it right away, and the movie is 1 year before that. So you learn that the young poet, full of idealistic idea of what is love, he goes to Montmartre in Paris and just go there to write about love and feel the love and be an artist. And he met a bunch of guys. He became like one of their friends, and he decided to help them finalize to write a show with this spectacular. They go to Moulin Rouge to sell the idea, and he saw for the first time the courtesan Satine, and he just fell in love. He who never felt it before, he just, she's so pretty and The rest is a series of funny events which makes Satine believe that Christian, the sweet young Christian, is the Duke, the rich Duke, that she has to seduce and stay on his good side. She starts falling for Christian. Soon enough she realizes he's not the Duke, but she's already like falling for his poetic charms. The rest of the movie is just a bunch of amazing songs about falling in love. The first time I saw this movie is actually kind of funny. I don't know if it's funny, but it's kind of one of my dad's friend at the time. He knew that young 12 years old in me loved romance. I was in love with love. I was all over the place. He just gave me the movie. He was like, I think you're gonna like that kind of stuff. So yeah, 12 years old me who was blushing when I saw kisses on the screen, which is a huge gag in my family. Like I was hiding behind pillows. So to see this passion and this tragic love story about two persons who just love each other so much against all odds, whoo-wee, that was a lot of stuff to feel. Obviously it had a deep impact in how much I love the movie. I know it's not the actual best movie in the world. You can tell me. I've been told. I've showed the movie to a few, and I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. My boyfriend listened to it once, and he was looking other places sometimes. Wasn't moved that much. I end up marrying him anyways, because that's not my only criteria in a man. I've seen it a few times since then. I'm almost 27 years old, so it's been a bunch of years. I see it at least once a year. In my teens, I would say 2 to 3 times a year, so I have time to think why I like it so much. The first thing is the colors. It's fading, but I'm a big lover of colors. So the costumes and all the gold and the luxury of everything is like, and I know it's one of the reasons people kind of look at it with a bit of a critic, is that there is a lot happening. Another thing is just the love story just melt my heart. And if I really had to pick one reason what I still really like this movie is that the songs are just crazy good. Even if I don't watch the movie more than once a year, I still find myself looking at these songs. Now that I've seen a lot of my family slash friends slash boyfriend watch the movie with me beside them being like, do you like it? I see that not everyone likes it. First, you have to like musicals. You have to like soapy romance. It's just drools of soapiness. That's life. I like it. I don't care. It's a big romance movie, and it's tragic. It's not just dramatic, it's tragic, and you know firsthand that it's gonna end really badly, so you have to be open to that. If I had to pick one thing I don't really like, or at least one thing I would take away from the movie, I'm gonna be cheating on this one, because just like Titanic, I would erase the death at the end. I think you can feel a lot of stuff without a huge tragic ending. Do I think the movie sent a message? Personally, I would say that I like this idea of, it's really idealistic, but to see love as something more important than anything else, and that it's worth fighting for it. After all this time talking about that movie, one question should come to your mind. Did I actually cry watching the movie? Well, I would say to you, yes, I cried. I know I cried the first time I watched it because, you know, it was the first time I felt a lot of distress, actual distress. Because at 12 years old, I'm happy to say that I never felt much tragedy in my life. So yeah, at 12 years old, seeing like this awesome Ewan McGregor feeling all of this sadness, I just cried with him. I cried for him. I was synchro with his pain. The last time I cried in front of Moulin Rouge, and it might be weird, we went to Paris. I don't remember if it was on the plane when we went or when we came back, but on the other side of the aisle, I saw someone watching the movie. I wasn't, so I was just seeing, and I was like, oh, someone is looking at Moulin Rouge. And I was already looking at, I think it was the movie about Mary Poppins' True Story, which is an absolute good movie too. What happens is that in the back of my head, I knew somebody was watching Moulin Rouge, and was like, is it the first time they're watching it? Am I being the spectator? Yeah, I cried without actually watching it, but it was by seeing the scene from far away.
Shutter Island is directed by Martin Scorsese, and the cast is actually phenomenal. I love the cast because we have Leonardo DiCaprio, Ben Kingsley, Mark Ruffalo, Michelle Williams, Max von Sydow, and Emily Mortimer. The film is based upon the eponymous novel by Dennis Lehane. I guess you pronounce it Lehane, who himself said that the island, Shutter Island, is actually based on an existing island which he visited when he was a child. On this island there was a minimum security prison. The plot is very simplistic, unlike the story, because there's difference between plot and story. The plot is very simplistic. Basically, we have a detective coming to Shutter Island, which is an asylum, to investigate the disappearance of a missing woman who is a patient. Whilst the detective tries to solve this mystery, he actually unravels more mysteries which will shock the audience. I first watched the film in my room. I think it was right before the quarantine, even though I'm not sure, maybe it was during the quarantine. I kind of lost track of time. It was during the day and I was eating a bag of chips. The film was so fascinating and intriguing that I dropped the bag of chips, and I realized just when the film was over. I don't think that where I watched the film actually influenced my judgment, because it's such a shocking and powerful and impactful film if you're actually following it, because it is one of those films where if you miss 1 second you will miss the whole film. It doesn't happen often to me to actually watch a literature or a cinematic piece this impactful and powerful and just amazing. I like the film because it is literally a roller coaster. It will make you feel all kinds of emotions. The mystery, the more unraveled it gets, the more complicated it gets. It's actually like amazing how you just get to a point, you think that you understood that point, and then 5 seconds later they destroy everything that you believed in and thought was true. The ending is such a shock. It is nothing like an ordinary, you know, crime or mystery story. The ending completely changes the whole genre, and it is one of those films that you can actually experience just the first time you see it. You cannot watch it a second time and feel the same emotions, because the ending completely changes everything. I love how open the ending is. My favorite thing about the film is the creativity behind the plot. I especially love how the temporal system is being built in this film, because it feels like the temporal system is linear, but at the same time it's fragmented and regular. It looks like there are two temporal lines. Okay, there is the linear one, and then the other one just feeds on the fragments from the linear one. It's because there is a huge presence of flash forwards and flashbacks and dreams and hallucinations, and the collage make a whole other temporal line. I would recommend this film to people who enjoy a good psychological thriller, someone that can take psychological strikes, because it hits you psychologically really hard. And you also have to have a good attention span, because if you can't focus on a movie, on a film for 2 hours straight, no break at all, then you can't really watch this film. I couldn't find anything that I didn't like about the film. The only thing that I could think of was the fact that the mentally ill are portrayed as crazy, but you know, at the same time, it's an asylum, it's set in the 60s. It is just appropriate to the setting. I actually don't mind that too much, because it's just appropriate to the film. I do think that this film has a message. I think it has more than one message, and it is hard to actually get into all of them. But I think the most important one is the one that says that reality is never the truth. What looks real might not be what looks like the truth, might not be reality, and also that what might be real and reality to you is something else for someone else. Reality changes based on the point of view of the person. The film didn't necessarily make me cry, but it made me feel all kinds of emotion, like a whole range of emotions while I was watching, from confusion to sadness to pity to shame at one point to rage to shock. It didn't make me cry, but that's on me.